A ver qué dicen, ¿no? Tiene un pintón espectacular, tío. Tengo mucha ganas de jugarlo. Y a ver qué enseñan. Tengo, ya os digo, bastante curiosidad. Había gente jugándolo ayer. Gente sobre todo de habla inglesa. A ver si con suerte me pasa en clave. A mí, hablé con ellos ayer por la tarde.
Hey everyone, I'm Thomas.
Pero ya habían cerrado la campaña y tal.
Y
se quedó ahí en el aire, tío. Lástima. Lástima, la verdad. Bueno, son los creadores de Ori, o sea que ya con eso deberíamos estar aplaudiendo hasta sangrar.
Our next project was supposed to be something totally different because for over 20 years we've been playing action RPGs religiously, and we always dreamt of where this genre could be taken next.
Vaya pinta, tío.
At the same time, we felt that we could do even more within the Metroidvania genre, and so we embarked on making Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
Obra maestra.
We ultimately shipped another game that was incredibly.
Los dos Ori me parecen obras maestras, ¿eh? O sea, me parecen de los mejores Metroidvania de la historia. Con tantísima solidez que en fin. Y van a hacer lo mismo con la acción RPG ahora. Es que joder.
King Harrow is dead, and he's to be succeeded by his young and untested son Magnus.
Tiene un rollito arcane, ¿no? La estética. Como muy pintado en acuarela, ¿sabes? Está guapo. Está muy guapo, tío. O sea, me parece una especie de mezcla entre Arcane y Vanillaware, pero con el rollito visual de esta gente, claro, de la iluminación y demás de los Ori. Y luego obviamente es un diablo con temas de Souls. O sea, es que es la polla. O sea, es absolutamente increíble. A mí me flipa, vamos. No.
En route, your ship comes under attack from a rebel group known as the Risen. The battle leaves the vessel battered and badly damaged. The ship stands little chance as it limps towards the shore, and it is torn apart on the rocks.
Es que mirad qué bonitos los planos,
You find yourself washed up at the shores of Isola Sacra, bruised and unarmed, and end up caught in the midst of both a vast political struggle and a fight for survival.
Qué ganas, tío. Qué ganas, por el amor de Dios. A ver, me jode en cierto modo que salga en Early Access, porque va a tardar un tiempo en completarse. Pero me da seguridad porque implica que van a estar escuchando a la comunidad para hacerlo cada vez mejor, ¿sabes? Que eso está bien.
With no rest for the wicked, we decided to handcraft an entirely seamless world. Nothing in this game is procedurally generated.
Esto me flipa. No es procedural. Todo el diseño del mapa está hecho a mano, que está de puta madre, quiero decir. Prefiero esto a los típicos generados proceduralmente que suelen ser un horror. Eso me parece la hostia. Lo va a hacer menos rejugable, digamos, pero me da igual. O sea, lo prefiero así con diferencia. El arranque es muy tío, por cierto, ¿eh? El tío ahí varado en la playa.
It ensures that every player has their own unique experience, and that every time you explore an area, you might just finally get that last gold ore.
Vale, lo que sí que cambia son los objetos de los cofres, por lo que estoy viendo, ¿no? O sea, el mapa es el mismo para todos, pero el objeto y luteo no.
We wanted players to have ultimate control over their character. Every movement you make should feel tactile and be intentional. For that reason, we designed Wicked to be played using WASD or a controller.
Bueno, bien. O sea, te mueves con el stick de dirección o WASD, pero no con clic, clic, clic. O sea, no es un... O sea, no es el LOL, vaya.
Instead of going for realism, our goal is always to create games that look like a painting come to life.
Se nota el objetivo que tenían.
Our artists spent years meticulously modeling and hand-painting all of Isola Sacra. You will traverse through plenty of breathtakingly beautiful environments, lit with natural day and night cycles, immersed in dynamic weather.
Hostia, chaval. Ojo, el agua chocando contra el cuerpo, ¿eh? Esto es una locura. Fijaos cómo el agua... ¿Lo veis? Nah, de puto locura, chaval.
We
De puta
also
locura.
engineered a very special way of rendering our top-down world, where you can always see so much further into the distance. Our goal was to make everything as interactive as possible. If an object looks like you can climb it, then you can actually climb it.
Vaya pinta que tiene esto, tío.
And if an object is too thin to walk over it, you might just need to balance your way across.
Es que el escenario es una jodida pasada. O sea, al margen de la verticalidad, que siempre ayuda. Cómo juega con las sombras y el desenfoque y demás, es una putísima fumada. Ahora el combate.
Right from the start, we decided to create an animation-driven combat system. Which to us meant that every attack you make should be carefully considered. We wanted to bring weighty, precision-driven combat to the top-down space.
Vale.
Combat that's inspired by several different genres, from ARPGs to fighting games.
Bien.
In order to overcome an opponent, you need to watch out for
Y todo para
tactics
decir que es un Souls-like con otras palabras,
and
vaya.
then punish accordingly. Timing, spacing, and weapon weight are incredibly important in Wicked's combat model. In A Rest for the Wicked, every single weapon has its own unique moveset and stats driven by RNG.
Ah, vale, cada arma tiene como un moveset, ¿no? Uy, eso está muy interesante, en verdad, ¿eh? Está interesante que cada una de las armas ya no tenga solamente más daño y tal, sino que tenga una skill concreta que te pueda beneficiar en algún boss o lo que sea, tener una skill que sea, por ejemplo, yo sé, un ataque en diagonal. O un ataque de un elemento concreto, fuego, hielo, me lo invento, ¿vale? Eso está guay. Porque generalmente en este tipo de juegos te pones el arma que más daño hace y ya está. No te pones a pensar, esta hace 10 menos de daño, pero es que me añade un elemento de fuego. O sea, le da variedad. Está guay. Está guay, la verdad. Y por supuesto hay estamina.
Using this dagger, I'll have a hard time breaking this enemy's shield. Let's try something different.
Vale.
If you time it just right, you can parry incoming attacks, allowing you to exploit an enemy's opening.
Qué guapo, tío. Qué jodidamente guapo, tío.
Gear in No Rest for the Wicked comes in 4 different rarities. White items are common. Unlike in other ERPGs, they're not trash loot. We instead made those the most customizable. Blue items are rare. They offer only positive enchantments.
Vale.
Purple items are cursed. They offer very positive enchantments.
Ah, vale, claro. O sea, tienen cosas muy tochas, pero también, por ejemplo, en este caso, hace que puedas cargar menos equipo en un 26%. O sea, está diseñado para que sea guapo, pero que tenga una cosa en contra, ¿no? Está bien. Está bien pensado. Y luego el dorado, que es el épico, ¿no? Entiendo, o legendario.
With a cursed enchantment. Gold items are unique. They are specifically handcrafted by our designers and offer unique enchantments.
Vale.
This rare claymore we found has an enchantment that increases my focus gain whenever
O sea,
I
digamos
deal
que
damage.
la más neutral y la más fácil de usar es la azul, entonces. Porque decía que las blancas son comunes, pero tienen como beneficio el ser personalizables. O sea, puede que un arma blanca, o sea, normal, común, quiero decir, sea mejor que un arma azul. Porque le puedes poner tú los buffos que quieras y mejorarlo como tú quieras, ¿no? O es lo que yo entiendo, vaya. Así que ni tan mal. Vamos. O sea, parece bien diseñado y bien equilibrado el sistema de armas. Parece bastante bien tirado.
Every weapon has a chance to drop with its own unique rune, which can then be extracted and used on other weapons.
Guay.
That way, players can come up with their own unique moveset.
¿Habrá
You
sets
can
también, tipo en el
focus
Diablo
on
2?
combat.
Igual no, ¿eh?
It is then used to perform rune attacks. Let's try one.
Vale. Coño, lo que le ha hecho, tú. Me ha dolido.
But every now and then, you might not even need to use your weapons to get rid of an enemy.
Vale.
Sometimes, all you need is a little push.
Me gusta, me gusta, me gusta.
Every weapon you'll find in No Rest for the Wicked has its own bespoke moveset, custom made by our incredible animation department. Squash and stretch and other animation principles directly inform our combat design.
Tío, qué barbaridad, por
Layered
el
on
amor
top
de
of
Dios.
that, enchantments that drastically impact weapon behavior. And our deep rune system.
All of this culminates in a weapon system that we feel is extremely fun and engaging and allows every player to create their own style of combat.
Nah, tío, esto es una barbaridad.
When it comes to gear like armor, there is a wide range of options, each with their own design and attributes. The weight of such items even affects your movement in combat. For instance, if you opt in for a lighter, faster build, you can quick step out of enemies' way. Quick steps are fast and don't consume a lot of stamina. With medium weight build, your character will dodge roll. Those are slower and consume more stamina.
A ver, está explicando cosas muy básicas, pero que tiene sentido que las explique, ¿no?
For No Rest for the Wicked, we designed a soft class system. Instead of locking you into a character class that you then have to adhere to for...
Vale. Now we are talking. O sea, voy a poder hacer mi propia creación monstruosa. Estamos empezando a hablar el mismo idioma, No Rest for the Wicked. Estamos empezando a hablar el mismo idioma.
the entire playthrough. We want you to have the flexibility and freedom to play as the type of character you want to. And even come up with character classes we haven't even thought of.
So far, we've shown what combat looks like with a more melee-focused build. Let's take a look at how combat changes for a mage.
Vale. Dale.
This character build uses a two-handed staff. We have 3 rune specials available: Blink, Fireball, and Nova.
¡Oh, qué guapo lo de que quemes la hierba cuando tiras el proyectil, eh! Que no es innovador ni mucho menos, pero joder, mola verlo, tío. Y más con este estilo visual tan bonito.
Fighting multiple enemies is always tricky. When used right, Nova can be an absolute blast.
Bueno.
The uniqueness of each item you find or craft, being able to create any character build you can think of through our soft class system, and the randomized loot, all of these systems combine to ensure each playthrough and every player's experience is never truly the same.
Jefes. Parecía que lo hemos visto en algún gameplay, ¿eh? Creí que iba a ser algo distinto.
I saw a Sakurai is riddled with plagued enemies known as the Torn. As you can see, this Torn has been left to mutate and fester and will prove particularly vicious.
Okay.
Our best course of action is to study his moves and attack whenever we see an opening.
Qué guapo, tío.
Bosses are also quite brutal in No Rest for the Wicked. They will punish every mistake you will make.
Fua, es que es increíble, ¿eh?
Make use of all of the skills you've learned, and you just might succeed. As you can see, No Rest for the Wicked is an intensely skill-based game. Your gear greatly influences your power in battle, but whether you die or overcome the challenge is ultimately down to your skill.
Ese parry bonito. Sacramento, ¿esto qué es?
Along your journey, you will come
vale, el
across the
pueblo,
town
¿no?
of
El HUD,
Sacrament,
digamos.
the capital of Isola Sacra. Sacrament is a war-torn place, but over the course of your journey, you can help rebuild Sacrament to its former glory.
Se va restaurando el esplendor. Vale, esto es un poco Digimon Wall entonces, ¿no? Vas, digamos, avanzando en la historia y vas mejorando la base.
In order to demonstrate that, we'll switch to a realm that's already
Mola.
a little more advanced. Our goal is to make Sacrament as interesting and interactive as possible.
Claro, ya trayendo NPCs y ampliando cositas.
Don't pretend you don't smell it. Come have a taste.
And players will be in control
Guay.
over how Sacrament will evolve over time. For example, after my previous expedition, I helped Fillmore rebuild his smithy.
Vale.
He now sells better gear and is also able to upgrade our gear to a
Guay.
higher level.
Bien.
To that effect, we aim to make investing resources into Sacrament as satisfying and rewarding as investing resources into your character is. Let's take a look at another way you can make Sacrament your own.
In Sacrament, you'll be able to purchase real estate.
Vale, ¿para qué quieres comprar una casa en este juego?
If you have the funds to afford it.
The city's gone to shit.
Property in Sacrament can get a little bit expensive.
Bueno, igual puedes hacer
but
negocios,
accumulate
en plan,
riches,
comprar el
and you can
bar
choose from a wide range of
y
properties
recibir un
to suit
porcentaje del
any
oro
taste.
que se produce,
Your
tipo
house
el
is the
Yakuza, ¿sabes?
perfect
Con la empresa.
place to stash your loot, craft items, relax, and plan everything
Vale, la
out
casa es
for
para
your
guardar
next
cosas,
big
entiendo.
run through the dangerous areas surrounding Sacrament. I just moved in here, so it's a little bit barren.
Ah, que tiene housing, vale, ya acaban de ganarse a un montón de público solo con eso.
O
sea, que tiene un componente survival.
Furniture for your home, or even make improvements to the town itself.
Han sido listos. Han sido muy listos, tío.
Catch a fish, for example, and it can be cooked and
Esto lo
eaten,
está petando
of
en
course.
el
But
Enshrouded,
certain
se llama, o
fish scales
Enshrouded,
can
bueno, el
be
juego este
made
que ha salido
for
este
some
año.
fine arm.
Que hay gente que juega solamente para hacerse una casa súper chula y tal.
I collected some pine wood. So now let's make use of that and make this place a little bit more cozy.
Han sido listos. Han sabido leer un poco la tendencia del mercado y aplicarla al juego. Bien por ellos.
Housing is incredibly cool in No Rest for the Wicked. Since you're not constrained to a grid,
O sea, yo esto creo que no le viene a tocar, básicamente. Pero habrá mucha gente que le dé mucho vicio.
The table looks nice,
Tío, es que artísticamente es
but it's
precioso,
missing something. It's much better.
Artísticamente es una
While
pasada,
some
tío.
items you can place in your house are just cosmetic, our goal is for most of them to be functional and have a gameplay purpose.
Pues tiene un telar también.
With a
bueno.
range of properties to purchase and an incredibly flexible interior design system, we hope players will be able to find and design a unique place for them to call home.
De locos. De locos, tío. Qué flipada de diseño, tío. Me parece increíble, cómo se ve. Ah, va a hablar del endgame también. Bueno, está bien, es interesante.
One last thing we'd like to show you today is a system we call Alive.
Vale,
Although No Rest for the Wicked features a traditional campaign,
gracias.
it was important to us that Isola Sacra is very much a living, breathing world. In order to show you what that means, we're going to go to an area called Mariner's Keep. This is an area I've previously ventured through and explored.
Vale, un área que has visitado cambia cuando llegas al endgame, ¿no?
However, since my last journey through here, NIF have overrun the local area, presenting entirely new threats for me to tackle and resources for me to scavenge.
Vale, es como dar una segunda vuelta entonces, ¿no? Con nuevas cosas.
The world of No Rest for the Wicked is constantly changing around.
Mola.
And each time you visit a region, you'll be faced with a drastically different experience.
Está guay. Mola, 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 mola.
And no rest for the wicked.
Hostia.
You never really know what to expect. For those of you who asked about Endgame, yes, we've got you covered. While we don't want to give away too much at this point, once you reach the Endgame, you can enter the Serum Crucible.
Vale.
This is where you'll have to test your metal against some of the toughest enemies of the No Rest for the Wicked.
Our goal is and always has been to create a very different action RPG, one that will hopefully move the genre forward. We believe that Moon Studios is in an incredibly unique position to deliver on this vision. We have some of the best talent in the world united behind this, and we're not afraid to take the risks that need to be taken in order to change up the status quo.
We've poured an incredible amount of blood, sweat and tears into this project, and now we're at a point where we need your help to shape and build Wicked into the best game it can possibly be.
Vale.
Therefore, we'd like to invite all of you who love this genre, who grew up with it the same way we did, and who are excited to see a new take on it, to join us on this journey. And so we're happy to announce that we're going to be launching No Rest for the Wicked after all of these years into Steam Early Access next month on April 18th.
Over the course of Early Access, we'll be tweaking, patching and balancing the game with your input. And you will also see major content updates throughout development until we hit our 1.0 release.
Vale.
At which point, we're planning to release on consoles as well.
Wicked has been built.
Vale, sale primero en PC y cuando esté ya completo la 1.0 sale en consolas, ¿no? O sea, no va a salir un... Claro, si en consola un Early Access es complicado.
From the ground up with multiplayer in mind. So the first of these major updates that we will be releasing in Early Access will be providing you with an innovative multiplayer experience, allowing you to play Wicked alongside or even against.
Vale, esto a mí me da igual, la verdad.
Our second major content update will bring all new regions to Sakura, new enemies, narrative updates,
Esto está bien.
and so much more. With story, system, and gameplay content updates to follow thereafter.
Your support and feedback during this very critical part of Early Access really does make a difference. No Rest for the Wicked begins a new era for Moon Studios, and we're committed to this project for the long run.
We're incredibly excited about what will be No Rest for the Wicked
Por favor.
already in day one of Early Access, and we can't wait to show you all the stuff that will follow in the months to come. Once the showcase is over, be sure to tune in to your favorite media and content creators for the hands-on impressions of No Rest for the Wicked.
Tío, qué pena, porque yo les pedí clave, pero cuando me enteré de esto, tío. O sea, cuando me enteré de esta vaina, les mandé un correo a los de Private Division y me dijeron que ya no había posibilidades porque estaba todo cerrado. Qué pena, tío. Qué pena. Ojalá antes de que salga el juego pueda enseñároslo. Sería la hostia. Qué pena, tío.
We can't wait to see you all on April 18th.
De hecho, creo que solamente gente inglesa, ¿no? No hay ninguna persona española o latina o nada, ¿no? Pues tampoco conozco a casi nadie, en verdad. No conozco a casi nadie. O sea, conozco a Mongol, conozco a Kinda Fanny, pero debe ser todo gente de habla inglesa. Me da la impresión, ¿eh? Que no pensaron en el público de otros idiomas. Yo qué sé, gente alemana, francesa, española, ¿sabes?
No Rest for the Wicked.
Una pena.
Immediately following this showcase.
We can't wait to see you all on April 18th.
Es que esto me lo voy a jugar, tío, con todo, ¿eh? O sea... Ya os digo, mi plan con este juego va a ser jugarme todo el contenido de la Early Access y luego ya seguramente esperar a que esté completo, básicamente. O sea, no voy a jugar cada vez que salga contenido porque esto igual dura 5 años, ¿sabes? Pero... O sea, lo del Early lo jugamos segurísimo. O sea, 100%. Y a partir de ahí ya veremos. Pero lo que salga en el día de Early, de una. Además el 18 de abril, que creo son 3 días antes o 4 días antes del Stellar Blade. O sea que va a dar tiempo de sobra a meterse un vicio a esto antes del otro. Así que nada, de una. Y si puedo jugar la demo antes de que salga, pues ya lo veréis por ahí, lógicamente.